Should you keep shooting after you hit the attacker? Imagine that you had to use your firearm in self-defense, and now you're stuck with that question. Bottom line up front, you shoot to stop the threat. If the bad guy has a gun and is still shooting at you, then I don't care if you've shot him once or 10 times. You keep shooting until he stops shooting or until the threat is over. Why is this such a big deal? Because I found out that civilians mostly fire until they hit their threat once. Then they tend to stop. But what do the statistics say about this as being an effective strategy? Guys, let's get into it. Okay, so civilians fire on average about 2 to 3 shots in self-defense per incident. Civilians also have a hit rate of around 23 to 30%. On average, civilians hit an attacker in 74% of the incidents where the defender, the good guy, starts shooting, versus a little over 50% for cops, if you just want that data point. More on that in another video. Now, if you start doing the math, you will notice that with about 2 to 3 shots fired and a 23 to 30% hit rate, most civilians stop shooting after making a single hit. So that begs the massive question. What is the rate of one-shot stops? Well, first we have to define what is a stop. A stop is when the bad guy stops his aggression, when he surrenders, when he stops fighting. This can be either physiological, either due to perhaps turning off the lights by hitting that magic little box right at the bottom of the brainstem. It's about 2 to 3 inches. Or if you can somehow physically incapacitate the attacker so that he is forced out of the fight. Maybe you neck shot him and hit the spine, something like that. You get it. Now, this contrasts with something that's frankly more important, something called a psychological stop, where someone is shot and basically decides, you know what, I really don't like being shot. Maybe they're too scared. Maybe they've got new shoes. I don't know what the deal is, but they take themselves out of the fight voluntarily. That's the bottom line to a psychological stop. They could have kept going. They were not physiologically stopped. We are still counting both of these as a stop. All the hits, all your favorites, 9mm, 45 ACP, 40 short and weak, Smith & Wesson, 38 special, they all have one-shot stop rates of around 34 to 45% or so of the time. And no, the 45 ACP was not the 45%. That was the 40 Smith & Wesson. Now, this also includes all hits anywhere in the body. So we're including head hits, extremity hits, arm, leg, that kind of stuff, as well as center mass, torso. What does seem clear is that you really want torso and head hits. I know that's intuitive, especially if you grew up playing video games. Headshots equate to a 75% immediate incapacitation. Torso shots, we're talking now center mass, the body, 41% immediate incapacitation. Extremity shots, arms, legs, 14% immediate incapacitation. Accuracy rates for all these common calibers when it comes to the user's ability to take that platform in 9mm, 45, 40, 38, and translate that to hits on head and torso are all actually pretty dang similar to each other. They're all pretty much around that 75% mark. All in, head and torso hits in the real world studies all lead to about a 50 to 55%. So that's if we combine the headshots and the torso shots. Though before we saw headshots 75%, torso shots 41%. Now, when it comes to self-defense, hopefully I have to tell you this, the stakes are high. They couldn't be higher. Firearms are often the best option for protection. And frankly, on the street, when seconds count and police are minutes away, backed by compelling data, firearms may be your only option. In 83.5% of successful gun defenses, the attacker either threatened or used force first, proving that firearms are highly effective in dangerous situations, especially in reversing them. A gun can level the playing field, giving you the power to protect yourself and others. Let's just dispel another common myth. For women, complying with an attacker, going along with them, makes you 250% more likely to be injured compared to if you defend yourself with a firearm. If you choose to physically resist your attacker without a firearm, congratulations, you've now increased your risk of injury by 400% versus defending yourself with a firearm. For men, it's a similar story, though not as bad. Going along with your attacker raises the injury risk by 140% compared to using a firearm, while physical resistance without a firearm increases it by 150%. Men are a little bit better at physically fighting than women. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone out there. These statistics show that a firearm significantly reduces the chance of harm. Now, there is an old saying out there, never draw on a drawn gun. And the research supports that this is exactly what happens in the field, in case you were curious, indicating that people are less likely to use a firearm in self-defense if the attacker already has a gun pointed at them. This highlights the importance of quick decision-making in those high-pressure moments. And when facing, by the way, attackers with knives, because I was curious about this as well, and this video is just kind of me dumping statistics at you that I've kind of built up, even though I've used before, but I've built up and added new ones as well. A forensic study of homicides found that 60% of sharp-edged weapon attacks, such as those we're talking about knives, result in cuts to defensive sites. That's code for somebody slashing you with a knife. You raise your arm in self-defense. 60% common and active resistance. Up to 80% of these cases involve serious injuries to forearms and hands. A firearm can help avoid these brutal injuries. Remember what many studies have told us. Even the mere production of a firearm, without ever having to shoot it, will likely end the attack when the bad guy sees that about 90% of the time. 90% of the time. Good guys only have to fire their firearms in self-defense about 6% of the time when produced. Key statistics to remember. And I know that a lot of people are worried about, what if I'm disarmed if I'm trying to use my own firearm? Real concern. Train. But research suggests that this is very rare, likely occurring in less than 1% of defensive gun uses. I could keep going on and on and on about why people should be training, educating themselves about the law so that you don't survive the incident, only go to prison for the rest of your life because you said or did something wrong. The bottom line is you need to be doing both of those things and carry. ABC, always be carrying. If your firearm's too large to carry, get a different one, or first start with trying out a better holster, a better belt combination. If that doesn't solve it, then yeah, you've got my permission. Buy a firearm that you will actually carry and make sure you are committed to carrying it. Because someday, your life or the life of a loved one may just depend on it. Our quote of the day is going to be Marcus Aurelius. This one's fitting for this video, who said, quote, "Death smiles at all of us. All a man can do is smile back." Be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you found interesting down in the comment field below, and post up some of your favorite statistics that I didn't include in this video. I look forward to checking that out, joining the discussion, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this one, please feel free to check out some of our other great content, and we'll see you in the next one.